Hey everybody, what's up? Circus here, coming at you with like a post ban list analysis. I got Herf in here because I couldn't find anybody else. So, how you doing, buddy?
Good, how about you?
Not too bad. No, this video was your idea because you said let's look at the ban list, see how it actually is affecting things, and you're saying it's not affecting them too much, but I guess without turning this into a Herf versus Circus video, it seems like it is affecting it a little bit here. Because what you're watching right here is Battle Phase Tuesday, so it's a day old at this point, and you're going to see Crystron's with their new build on the screen right now, and yeah, decks are changing, but Crystron's have won a tournament. Blue Eyes have won a tournament, so that's a little bit different, right? And Weather Painters won today's Battle Phase EU. So, I mean, obviously there's some stuff going on here. What do you mean it isn't affecting it too much?
I think that in general, all that really happened was it like stunned the top decks. I think the only thing that is dead for now is the invoked package. And because of that, we don't really have like a good deck that can abuse Invoker and or like win by itself. Like we used to be able to play just like a bunch of shitty monsters,
Mm-hmm.
and then the invoked package could carry it. I think that the since the invoked package got such a big hit, it can't just carry a bad deck anymore. But once a good deck by itself happens, Alistair will come back. And then we obviously saw Crystron's like, I mean, they changed and they have less recovery now, but they're still really good. I think
Yeah.
Shiranui in general getting a hit was a good thing. However, like people are already like starting to theory craft. I mean, I think that
We're seeing it with
this,
Winda now, right? Didn't we see Shiranui with Winda in there as a stall tactic so they can get to their one squire?
yeah, I mean, well, honestly, they like cut Square completely from what I remember,
Okay.
and they're just playing like a bunch of like dump to the graveyard cards, and then they're able to like pop off that way.
Okay.
It
Okay.
makes them a little slower, so they need like more intrinsic stall cards. But I think in general, like it didn't really accomplish what it set out to accomplish, if that
You're
makes sense.
I guess we're all hoping like Shiranui, you're dead and stay there. But people like, hey, I invested 10,000 gems in this a year ago. I'm getting my value out of this, sir.
Yeah, I think that I think what we're seeing right now is like right after Dark Lords got their last hit is like they won like a few tournaments. And I think we're starting to see that kind of like monster kind of weird looking stuff. And I think that until Konami releases like actually good new decks to power creep it, it doesn't matter what ban list we're getting. Or it doesn't matter
Right.
how good this ban is.
Because even like half a Shiranui is still better than like full power, weather painters or something like that. Well, even though they won a
Yeah.
tournament, I'm just as an example, or full power Luna
Mm-hmm.
Lights or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like half a Crystron deck is still better than most of the decks out there right now.
Yeah. I think in general, like what Konami wanted to do was like hit like a reset button on the meta. But the thing is they haven't put anything good in the game for so long that it's like, what does a reset button do? Absolutely nothing.
Right.
Because it doesn't actually, what are we resetting to?
Yeah.
Because you haven't put any good cards in the game.
Well, I think everybody's got big hope for the next mini box, right?
I mean, we've been having big hopes for a new box for like the last year, and every single time Konami's like, hey, you thought that last thing was garbage? You'll love this. And it's like, well, Konami, like where's the motivation to make money? Like,
Well, how about I was talking about like half a Crystron deck is still better than most decks. What about these Xyz archetypes that we've been like Satellar Knights and Heraldics or whatever? How come these aren't coming back around? Are they still just so weak compared to these half decks or these other like full power weather painters? Why can't we compete with Satellar Knights? Are we still that far behind?
I mean, if you look at what was actually keeping Teller Knights out of the meta, like what was keeping them out of the meta wasn't like Cocytus, it wasn't Square Target, is that we have more efficient ways to control the game. Like we have Goki, right? That literally just add each other off their hand. They don't need to be able to combo. They literally just lay down their hand and that's good enough.
Right.
But Teller Knights, they need to be. They're like halfway between like they want to do this combo, but they still want to open up enough back row because their combo actually doesn't quite do enough. But like it's still important enough where they don't win without it, but then they can't draw their back. Like they're stuck in this weird spot, and that's what the problem is. It's not that like other decks were that much better. is that they don't have anything to go into, and if they can't go into it, they won't have enough background. Like we have like this weird paradox for them
Mm-hmm.
that they're just a bad deck.
Do you think these changes are gonna make room for Noble Knights? It's kind of like hot topic right now because it's like I think this almost might be good. It most of the stuff we've been getting lately is crap. This is on the edge of being okay. You know,
I
people are
think
excited right
that
now.
yeah, I think Noble Knights are like a tier 4 deck. Like I really don't think they're that bad, but they're really not that good.
Not yet.
Yeah, I mean, okay, and this is like just after the deck is made, so I'm saying that there's potential, but I'm not convinced yet.
I mean, we're
Because my
only
biggest, what's up?
well, today is what, Wednesday when we're recording this, so it's only been out for
Yeah.
2 days, so it's still pretty early right now. A lot of
Hmm.
people concerned about the best build. It's like we still don't know. We've seen it top 8 a couple times now in battle phase events, so it's high potential, right? I mean, like you said, it's tier 4. It's right outside on the power rankings. It'd be like number 9.
Hmm.
You know,
My biggest problem with the deck is it's not very clear. Like you need okay, so basically with the deck, if you go second, you basically lose if they have meaningful disruption, just automatically, right? If
right?
they have a floodgate, you can't Canadia stuff that you can't play through it.
But Herf,
So
what
that's a
about
big problem.
Cosmic Cyclone and Hey Trunade?
Yeah, but like how many? So okay, so you if you go second, you need to draw those cards, right? So you need to play those cards.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you go first, your combo doesn't do enough by itself to stop any meta deck,
Right.
right? Like your best turn one combo would be like ending on like one pop, like without other back row. That's why you need to play other back row. However, if you play that back row, you don't have room to play those going second cards. So you will just concede if you go second. You see, like, and that's I think what people need to do. Like, how do we balance, this going second and going first dilemma? That like
Mm-hmm.
a deck, excuse me, a deck like Black Wings, they're like we're really really good going second, so we only have to tech for going first, and that's when you saw like Close, Necro Valley, Offerings, kind of stuff like that. Like if we go first, we can put in this disruption, but we are just going to steamroll you going second, so we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like in that gray area that Satellar Knights are in. They can kind of do something, but it's just not
Hmm.
efficient enough to keep up.
Yeah, and I would say that they're much better than Satellar Knights in the fact that like your combo actually creates card advantage and you have some form of intrinsic protection. So if you don't like God hand them, you can actually protect yourself and have recovery. Like that's something that's a really important. They have a lot of good ingredients to make a good deck. It's just how do we like sand off the imperfections is essentially what people need to figure out.
Okay. All right. So back to the ban list discussion now that we've been on a pretty good Noble Knight sidebar. Um, the ban list though, what has gained the most from it? I guess because we were saying, oh, maybe it hasn't done as much as we had hoped, but some decks like Weather Painters, they won a tournament. We haven't seen them win a tournament for like, I think it was last time it was like Susie and company, and that was like God,
Hmm.
a month or two ago at this point.
Yeah, I think that weather painters it's really interesting because you would think that weather painters would actually lose the most from
Mm-hmm.
this ban list because their two best matchups got absolutely obliterated with Shiranui and Magician Girls. So you would think that like they would lose a lot of power, but I mean, largely people still don't know how to play against them. So they're always going to have that kind of shock and awe value of you are not going to read my cards in the middle of the tournament. So I guess you're just going to have to guess. You know
You're
what
gonna
I
have to.
mean? Like,
What about Blue Eyes? I mean, we saw Blue Eyes. I mean, they must be doing pretty well. I mean,
yeah, I
they
mean,
won a tournament as well.
Blue Eyes, I would say was always like just on the cusp of being tier 3. And with a lot of these other decks kind of pushed out of the way, they're kind of getting more recognition that they deserve because in my opinion they were already like a very good deck. It's just that now people are realizing it. Like people are like, well, I can't play the same deck I've played for the past year, so I guess we'll figure out what else is good. Because like Blue Eyes again were a deck that was really really good. Like you had you got a good Crystron matchup, good Shiranui matchup, all this stuff, and now
What
most
was
of their
their
good matchups are dead.
what was their gatekeeper? Casitas, or what was it?
I mean, Cocytus wasn't like that much of a problem. I think it's just more of the fact that people genuinely just did not want to play it.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to play Shiranui Magician Girls, and I think that if this ban list has done anything, it's made people think about like, wow, the deck has more, or the game has more than 3 good decks in it.
Right.
Like all of these decks have been good for a long time, and they didn't really have any gatekeepers, but people just didn't feel motivated to play them.
One deck I haven't seen. I went through the top eights, and I did see some Cyber Dragons, but they didn't do as well as I thought. I thought that maybe they'd, we'd see like 4 of them in the top 8 or something like that. But they didn't seem overly represented than any other deck.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are saying Cyber Dragons tier 1. Let's go. Finally, Cocytus is dead. Shiranui is dead. No more bad matchups. Let's go. However, I think the biggest problem with that line of thinking is that like Cyber Dragons could deal with pretty much every deck to begin with. You just had to have like a better and better hand, obviously. But like the thing that was like holding them back wasn't necessarily Cocytus or Shiranui or anything like that. It was bricks. And we didn't get any more future support to reduce those bricks, so they can't get that much better, right?
They're only running 5 monsters, and then they use that spell so they can reduce their life points by 2,000, and then Cyber Style. I mean, is that really the? I mean, obviously it's the best way to run a deck, but is that the best way a deck should be run? You know what I mean? You have to rely on your skill to get some monsters out on the board.
Yeah, and the deck isn't bad. It's just it's prone to not having enough,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so and that doesn't change just because that some of your bad matchups are gone, right? I mean, you're still going to not have enough, like a fair share of the time. And I don't want to like rag on the deck too much because I do think it's a powerful deck. However, it's not gonna make this huge jump from irrelevance to tier 1 just overnight because some of its bad matchups lost. Like you're not on the tier list. You're not in the meta contention for a reason beyond just having a couple bad matchups.
Mm-hmm. All right. What about Dark Magician? Obviously that fell off, but are we seeing any hybrids of that? I'm thinking I saw one a little bit ago, but I think it was before the ban list. It was kind of like a synchro version. Are we seeing anything like that, or not really?
Yeah, I mean, I think that people could create something like fairly easily if they actually wanted to play Dark Magician, and I don't think anybody really does. I mean, I think it's possible, and I think that you could play it, but overall, I don't really think that
Mm-hmm.
anybody is motivated to play Dark Magician in any capacity.
You think people are just so tired of it? I mean, everybody calls it the insect deck. And if you don't get the reference, basically it's like a cockroach. You can't kill it. It just keeps coming back and keeps coming back.
Yeah, I think that they lost a lot of power in not being able to play Cosmic Cyclone, no longer
Mm-hmm.
be able to play Rod. Stuff like that like really hurts the deck, but overall it still doesn't kill it because balance, like a lot of times Rod effect was nice. However, you didn't really need it that much. And there are other ways that you can abuse like spellcasters and drawing. And like I've definitely like theory crafted a bit, and I definitely think it, like you could play it. However, it's no longer like the most efficient like anti-meta deck.
All right. I was looking at the tournament results from today. Desperado second place. Are we back, baby?
I think Desperado. I mean, and I think that this is another like interesting thing. Like the ban list didn't need to happen for Desperado. It just made it a lot better,
Well,
right?
Casitas was
Because
always the big thing, right?
well, it was a big thing. However, we saw Desperado. Grucius used Desperado to get top 1 in KC Cup.
Is that good? I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
it?
like he won KC Cup with a mixture of Megalith, Desperado, Invoked Roids, and I'm forgetting the last one. I think maybe Luna Lights. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
I just want to jump in here. It was pretty funny because we did that how to play against Megalith
Mm-hmm.
video, and all
Mm-hmm.
the comments were like, "What a waste of a video! You never run into this deck." And
Yeah, and I
it was one
mean,
of the championship decks.
Yeah, and I
And
think
that's why,
that
because no one watched the video. Only like 800 people watched the video. They're like, what a waste of time.
so I mean, yeah, but I think that there's like this weird thing that happens in people's brain that everything that happens after a ban list is because of the ban list. And
Right.
I think that is like just a complete and utter just like I think it's bullcrap because
We
if you
just get
look,
used to seeing the same few decks, so people think that's the only thing that's good anymore.
yeah,
You
and
know
there
what
are
I
a lot
mean?
of other good decks that you can very much tech against the meta for and be very successful because they are very good. And I mean, you look at um, a lot of Japanese teams in leagues do this on a consistent basis, and that's why they are so successful on such a consistent basis because
Because,
they are able to think kind of outside the box and they don't just stick with the same four decks.
well, yeah, I think in North America or our community, EU, North America, South America, we kind of like just get around 3 or 4 decks, and to us, that's the only thing you can play. And then someone comes into a tournament with magnets, and everybody's like, "What a mad lad playing magnets," And it's like, well, not really.
Yeah, I mean it's a good deck, but I mean I think that people are just finally starting to see like the value in these other decks, and I think that's the
Right.
biggest thing that the ban list did. I don't think it actually killed any of I don't think it actually definitively killed any deck.
Again, I'm just going through some results here, and it looks like to me the big pattern is Black Wings, Cristrons, and Desperado. That's what I'm seeing, just in top eights that I'm looking here through here on our results page in our Discord. If you guys want to join the Discord, go in there, and you can look at top 8 decks from all of our tournaments. But yeah, over and over, it's just Cristrons, Black Wings, Desperado.
And I mean, Desperado is the only new name there. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
been a good deck for a while, but I'll say it and I'll say it again. Like they did very very well in the Casey Cup, so clearly they didn't need the ban list. It just helps them a lot.
I'm just
So
trying to count up Cyber Dragons here. I've seen 2 and 3 tournaments in the top 8. I'm sorry, 3. So yeah, 3 in top 8 over 3 tournaments. So
I mean, which isn't awful, but I
mhm.
mean, it's
Well,
kind
if
of
they were
bad
supposed to be the
considering their
ones,
representation.
yeah, if they were
Yeah,
supposed to be the ones that are just supposed to take over the meta. But I'm also seeing Mayakashi.
yeah.
Mayakashi's one and Spellbooks. So, like you said, there's all these other decks. Maybe they're gonna find a place in here. I mean, does Mayakashi? It's like Mayakashi Shiranui. It's kind of like a mix between the two. Is that
I
gonna
mean,
place?
Mayakashi is now the best Shiranui deck. Like honestly, they're the ones that are able to most efficiently uh, put a combo on the board as well as have the Shiranui follow up that
Mm-hmm.
is so explosive. That's been so good for so long. It's just whether or not they're too glass cannon in their follow up, in my opinion, which has always kind of been their problem. However, if a lot of the control decks have kind of been uh, filtered out, if you will, by the ban list, I think that they do have a chance to be more successful. However, I ultimately don't think they're going to be like meta change.
Okay, and then just real quick, Spellbooks. I know that's kind of a fan favorite. Are you a
I
fan? Are
mean,
you a fan of
I've
Spellbooks?
I've always hated spellbooks,
Okay.
like to my very core.
I
Well,
was trying to
because
remember
if you
who.
played, what's up?
I was trying to remember who on the DLE staff just absolutely loves Spellbooks, and it's not Herf. It turns out.
Uh if you played the game when spellbooks were very first released and you didn't play spellbooks, I feel like you have a similar sentiment that I do towards them.
Yeah,
That they're extremely boring to play against, and Spellbook of Fate is extremely annoying to deal with.
it is. It's extremely annoying.
And
Untargeting banishing, yes.
yeah, I've consistently said I hope that deck dies and never is allowed to breathe again.
Well, it's back, baby. It looked like it got top 8.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest weakness of spellbooks is that they have had like some kind of successful
Mm-hmm.
couple of past like month or so. They've won a couple tournaments here and there, but I ultimately don't think they're that good of a deck just purely because they aren't able to handle just a deck that swarms, right? Like a deck that's able to summon multiple times because they can only banish one.
Right.
So
You gotta know where that linchpin is, the choke point that we
yeah,
talk about.
yeah, and I mean that is helpful. However, it's not a negate.
Right.
So if you can't negate it, I mean it's there. It's helpful, but it's not. And I guess Spellbook of Fate is also a Book of Moon in the same sense, where you can flip stuff down, and so it's a really good card. However, it's like Cosmic Cyclone exists, right?
Right.
So it's
Right.
like, I mean, does it do enough besides Fate? And I don't think so. But it does. It will steal a lot of games.
All right. So overall, you think the ban list has not done what they intended so far, but it sounds like we just talked about 20 minutes of all the room it's made for all these other decks to come in by getting rid of Shiranui. And
Yeah.
Karakuri, we haven't heard anything from Karakuri.
Well, I think Karakuri
Invoked,
are actually just dead. I think Karakuri is the most successful thing that the ban list did, and I think that that's really sad, in my opinion.
Well, people are saying it's crappy that Konami killed a deck that's only 3 months old, or whatever it is, 2 months old. But they got to remember that Karakuri is actually like 2 years old. It just got some recent support, so it is a deck that's been around for quite some time.
Yeah, but I would say that it's like, I mean, by that definition, then Blue Eyes should never like be competitively viable ever in Duel Links, right?
Well,
Because I
Dark
mean that's
Magician and Blue Eyes should be the best decks, number one and number two at all times in Duel
but
Links. Have you not seen the anime, my friend?
but I'm saying, like, if we're just considering length, total length in the meta
Right.
over the entire game, Blue Eyes is probably like the the most dominant over the most amount of time.
Well, I mean, Karakuri was around and they had a good month or two, and then they kind of got power crept and fell off. But just the recent support, because if you had most of the stuff from before, I mean, you only had to invest in this box, and how many times did you have to go through? I mean, like how many Kunans did you need and all
You
that?
only really needed two.
Right. So I mean, it wasn't like a super heavy investment, and the deck really was oppressive. So I don't really see the problem with trying to reset the meta. But I guess the whole point of the video is, did they do what they set out to do? And you're saying yes with Karakuri, maybe with Shiranui, maybe with Kristrons.
I would say not with Kristrons. I think Kristrons
Okay.
are still probably, they look to be one of the better decks in the meta right
The
now.
footage on the screen is showing that they're still pretty good at getting their synchros, because I've been watching it and this guy has been it's a little bit slower like you said, but they're playing powered in Zectron again. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean you're able to just like,
Stall out a
I,
little bit
I mean
more, and yeah.
it's a really good deck still, and I think that their goal was to kind of kill the invoked package, but they didn't really kill the invoked package. They just limited its ability to carry garbage decks,
Right.
which I mean is good. However, that just means when we get like a decent deck like Dogmatica, if those cards ever come to Duel Links, it'll still be like tier 0. Like the invoked package is still inherently broken. It's just your other cards need to do something. Like Shaddolls. If Shaddolls come to Duel Links, they're still going to be broken because they didn't actually fix the invoked problem. Like it's, I don't know. Like I just think that it doesn't do anything or it doesn't do enough.
Well, last
But
Saturday, Neg and I were playing Invoked Lunalights on stream just for some fun. And we were playing two Alistair, one Invocation, and then we were just
yep,
playing Magalencia, Kaliga, and then Purgatrio, just in case our opponents had cards for us to go into that.
yep.
So it's not that hard to do. And it was just kind of like, it just spiced up the Lunalights. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, the package is still good. It can still fit into a deck. It's just what deck will it fit into? I mean, Luna Lights worked just fine because you were just waiting for your opponent to throw something away that you could use, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And worst case scenario, it's just a 3,000 boost on a fusion.
Right.
Like,
Which
it's
worked
still
well with
so
Luna
good.
Lights. Yeah. Yeah.
But
All right. So you're saying maybe it did what it was supposed to, or give us a
I
percentage: 50% yes, 50% no, 60-40, 70-30.
I would say, in terms of getting people to play new decks, it did.
Okay.
In terms of killing the decks that were a problem and like definitively, and killing those decks, it 75% no.
Oh wow. Okay. So you think these are the new insect decks then?
Yeah, I mean, Crystron, I don't want to call them insects, okay? I'm not going to do that to the Crystron people. However, your deck is starting to look like it's got some legs crawling out, and it's, getting kind of sensitive to light, and,
well,
it's kind of,
no, let's
I
make
don't
them feel better. We'll say it's like they're like a matador, and the ban list is the bull. Ole. They kind of
know. They
got right out of
could,
the way of that thing, right?
I think that they're going through a metamorphosis,
Okay.
is what's happening. That they're becoming insects, but they're not quite there.
All right. All right. I hope that gives you guys a little bit of insight. I think we could sit and talk about this for another half hour, but we're gonna kind of cut it there. I hope you guys like the video, and of course, we'd be more than happy to talk about it some more if you want us to. So let us know in the comments below what other stuff you guys want us to talk about with the ban list, because I feel like there's a lot of topics, especially this week with so many tournaments going on. Because we're 3 tournaments in, we still have 4 more this week, so we're definitely gonna have a lot of data by the time the power rankings roll around. So I can't wait to see what that's gonna be like this week. Oh my god, first place is gonna be like 10 points, second place 9 points, something like that. It's gonna be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure to get in our Discord, because we're having a lot of discussions about it in there. It's also free to join. Our tournaments are free to join. We got a great new player help channel, so make sure to check that out. We have a new player stream, which Herf is a big part of, on Saturday nights, so make sure to check that out on Twitch, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Oh, and you can join the channel now. Did you know that? You can
Dude,
join the channel and get cool things like emotes
dude,
and
no,
badges.
no.
Yes.
What? Why haven't you done it yet?
That's
You're
right.
watching. Why haven't you joined? Did you join?
It's
You do
right
it
down
yet?
here. It's right.
Yeah, I'm
over here.
watching you. I know you didn't do it yet. You better do it right now.
Yeah, and you get
Okay.
guaranteed entry into all of our tournaments, so make sure to check that out too. And if you do, we'd really appreciate it. But we're gonna get out of here. Circus. That's Hoy.
Join. Do it.
See ya.